Welcome to yet another episode of Naked Hearts, a show dedicated to nurturing relationships and marriages. I'm Derek Ekosam, your show host. Today we are going to discuss an interesting topic, a topic that is truly fulfilling or lead to a very fulfilling discussion. So today we have with us again Mrs. Sam. Mrs. Sam, you're welcome to Naked Hearts.
Thank you very much.
So today we are going to discuss something that is of interest to a lot of people. We are going to talk about trust and intimacy in marriages. And I'm sure by the time we are done, we are going to share a few nuggets. Whether you are a newlywed, or you've been married for decades, I'm sure everyone will be able to get some nuggets and then to be able to build a trusting and more fulfilling relationship. So let's just dive deep into this particular discussion. Now, trust and intimacy in marriage. How does trust play a very crucial role in marriages, per your experience?
Well, I think trust is a key to having a lasting and fulfilling marriage relationship. I say that because if you think about it, marriage is just about, an agreement between two people deciding that we are going to spend our lives together under the same roof, doing everything together. Now, without trust, how do you say that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person? For instance, friends. It is when you call someone a friend, a best friend, when you trust that person with almost everything of yours. That is when you tend to call someone a friend. You don't just see someone by the roadside, say hello to the person and say, "Oh, that's my friend." There should be something that would qualify the person as a friend, and that is trust. So even in friendship, everyday friendship, trust is a very important aspect or a very important key. So in the same vein, for me to feel safe with you, for you to feel safe with me, I must be able to say that I trust you 100%. You must be able to trust me. And I believe that, that is why I say that, or I believe that trust is a fundamental key in having a solid marriage relationship.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sam, for that. Now, so how do we then build this trust? I mean, do we just trust people? I mean, when you are building, you are courting, or you are in marriage. I mean, you are marriage. Of course, I'm sure by the time you marry, you would have built some kind of trust with the person. But now, personalizing it, how did you build trust with your husband before marriage? And in marriage, how are you building trust with your husband?
Okay, so
Which is me. Okay.
So trust starts early, or should start very early in any relationship. For us, in our case, it had to come. It started early. In our previous episode, I remember talking about the fact that, or remember saying that we had been friends for a very long time. And during the period when we were friends, when we started dating, because I trusted you with my vulnerabilities and vice versa, that foundation had been laid.
Okay.
I knew that you understood things from my point of view. I understood things from your point of view. And one thing I would say here is that, you see, trust is not built over a day. I refer to our unique relationship because that trust was built over years. We had been in primary together. We had been in the youth class at church together. And I think we both saw each other in a certain consistent light.
Okay.
Behavior-wise, character-wise. And so if I say I'll do it, you know I'll do it. If you know the things I say I'll do and I'll do, you know the thing. I know the things you say. I know that even when I'm not there, you say someone said, "Oh, Derek did this." I know no, Derek would not do this.
Yeah.
So what I want to pinpoint on is that trust for us was not built over a day.
Okay.
It didn't start from when we started dating. It started from our days of being friends.
Okay.
And so it takes time.
To
It
build
takes
trust.
a lot of time. Now, the kind of trust that we shared whilst we were friends, and then when we became, when we were dating, I realized that when we married, it jumped to a different level. I say so because there are people, and I understand that there are people who, or there are marriages where if a spouse says that, oh, I'm going to place A, B, C, and then I'll be back by 2 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, the person is not back because of certain circumstances they found themselves or certain experiences they've had. Probably the one waiting for the other gets very frantic.
Yeah.
Start having very wild thoughts. Usually, he's with another woman. Which other woman is he with? But then, when you know the person you are with, there is that trust that has been built over years tells me that that is not where my mind will go to.
Yeah.
But then rather, you know me, I'll think wild thoughts, but those wild thoughts are not directed.
As in if I'm safe or
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, recently we had an experience like that.
Yeah.
One morning where you went to drop off the kids, I was waiting, you were not coming. I was calling, I wasn't getting you. In fact, that day I don't know what was happening in my head. I had very wonderful and wild thoughts. I was like, has he been kidnapped? Has he? These are the things that was running through my head.
Because that was not the usual.
Exactly. And then when I finally got hold of him, he can tell his own story from there. Okay. Later on, I was sitting back.
Maybe people would want to know. So I went to church. I mean, I passed by the church to do a few things before I came home. So yes, so people would know.
And he had left the phone. I was calling him on somewhere. And I wasn't getting through to him. Okay. So what I'm saying is that it has taken us years to get to this point for me not to think in a certain way. I want to stress again, that is not to say that I don't understand when other people think in a certain way. It is because of situations, events that have occurred. That is why they get. So it has taken us a lot of years. And I wanted to show the difference here. When we're friends, when we're dating, the kind of trust we had, we have built upon it as at now. And gradually, every day we build on it because of the certain practices that we have between us. That is what goes to cement. Because trust, believe you me, if we don't keep working at it, it would erode. It erodes. So it's not like I have trust for you and then we just leave it at.
So you have to continue to build upon it.
Exactly.
Okay, so you mentioned us, and you mentioned, I mean, from primary to, I mean, through youth and all of that. Now, someone would say ours is unique. We knew ourselves very early. What about the couple who got to know themselves maybe a year or two before marriage? They dated about 2 or 3 years. They never knew themselves. They are from very different backgrounds and all of that. How then do they build this trust? Though you mentioned a few things, but would you throw in the fact that, or would you agree that honesty, transparency, distance play a crucial role, even though they've not known themselves for too long?
So these are, like you've mentioned, these are certain standards or guidelines. Let me call them guidelines that need to be in place. Trust is founded on that transparency, on that being able to communicate without fear of judgment. Okay. Let me talk about transparency. If I say I'm going to be here, let me know that you are here. If for one reason or another, I'm not going to be here, check in, update the person. Or I said I was going here. I'm not, like something came up, I have to move to this other place. Okay. These, and then somebody calls you, "Oh, it's nobody, it's nobody." Let the person feel confident that, oh, it's so so and so. These are some of the things that have brought issues in a lot of relationships. I'm with you, and then the phone call rings, and then I just put it on side. You see that I see that your phone keeps beeping. Oh, but would you pick up? Oh no, don't worry, it's nobody. We have to be open. Let's very, very, very open.
Even if there is a reason, I mean,
Definitely.
at least you mentioned them.
Yes, you mention it. I've learned that from my own experience. It is not always that it is, I mean, especially when you are starting a relationship, it's not always easy to declare certain things. But I tell you that as you keep trying, as you keep trying, it becomes a lot easier. It becomes a lot easier. And then let's talk about, like I said, like open communication. Let's be open about our journey, who we are talking about the fact that we have come from different places. Let's talk about the experiences we've had. So that what it does is that when the other person is behaving or reacting to certain things in a certain way, you understand that empathy is that you know where the person is coming from. So you don't make unfounded judgments. Okay. Yeah. So.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Sam, for that wonderful explanation. Now, so now we are in marriage. I mean, you built, trust over the period. You are still, building upon that trust. Now, I would like to now enter into, intimacy. I think when we talk about intimacy, we can talk about intimacy in a lot of ways, emotional, physical, and all of that. How does trust play a role in emotional and, physical intimacy?
We have said here before that the fact that I'm sitting in your guest seat doesn't mean that I'm an expert. Doesn't mean that I've got it figured out.
Yes.
I'm learning. So I'll talk about what has worked for me, what it has been like for me. Personally, being able to open up to my husband in terms of being vulnerable with him, knowing that he's not going to laugh at my dreams, my fears, my flaws. He's not going to mock me. Okay, that he loves me for who I am. He wants me like this. Makes it easy. That is in essence me being vulnerable with you. And when that happens, I am totally at ease. I am totally relaxed. And so every other thing comes in quite easy. And that aspect of trust also plays a part here. Because I trust you with all of these things, I'm totally relaxed. And so you know that when it comes to intimacy, emotional, physical, when you are not relaxed, when you are not settled, it is hard. It is difficult. If I have inhibitions, if I feel resentment towards you for one reason or another, if I feel I don't really trust you, I don't know really who you are, these thoughts, it's in the mind. Intimacy comes from the mind and all. What is going to happen is that probably physically we might get at it, but then you would know that the person is not giving his or her all. Your souls are not merging, if I may so say. So for me, being in a position where I am totally relaxed with my husband, he knows me, I know him, that alone fosters or engenders quality intimacy for us. And I must say here again that it is not just physical intimacy, that emotional intimacy, where we are blending into our thought processes, our feelings about things, merges. Makes it feel like I don't want to say you are an extension of me. That's because I don't want to say that. But then we are more like peas in a pod in a lot of instances. Okay, so that helps to, let the flow flow.
Okay.
The flow is flowing,
Okay. All right. Since I'm interviewing you, and I mean, maybe your husband, it happens that I have to share from my perspective as well. I'm not interviewing a different set of couples. So, just you sharing this, it's actually exciting hearing you talk and share experiences from your perspective. Yeah. So, just to share a few perspective from, a few things from my perspective. Now, so trust. We talked about trust. We talked a lot about trust, and we're talking about intimacy, emotion, and physical. Now, just like you said, when you are connected emotionally, you are able to be your best self, or you are yourself. You share your vulnerability. There is no fear around you. There is no fear that, the other person is going to do this or say something to hurt my feelings or something like that.
Yeah.
And as a man, it is very important, especially in this day where we want to man up. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but when there's that emotional connection, you are able to be yourself as a man. If you have to cry, you cry. If you have to do this, you do that. Now, on intimacy, from my perspective, I think sometimes it is easier on women. But from my perspective, I've learned this over the period. Now that as we went on to when we started dating after in marriage, what I've gotten to know is the physical. You can't really. I don't know how you can enjoy the physical without being emotionally connected.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It wouldn't be just sex. It would be an emotional connection, even during the physical. So personally, I feel times like as a couple, we are in a Christian based. We are Latter-day-Saints, and we from even in the Christian world, sometimes we shy away from talking about some of these things, but they are very important and crucial. Now, I feel even in the home, you know what we do. We are all not lovey-dovey. We are thinking about school fees and other things. So it's not always that we are all lovey-dovey and all of that.
Definitely no.
But just about a few days ago, you were doing the dishes, and then and then I was around. I was doing something, but I came to sit around, and we were talking. Even that talking is very important. Coming to stand by you, coming to hug you from behind. Some of these things are very crucial.
Yes, and very crucial.
And I always say the world is, already hot. Some of these things makes it easier, even when there are issues. Okay, it makes it easier to talk about issues in that kind of context. I saw you smiling and laughing. Is there something you want to share?
Okay, so you're very right. You see, I'm thinking, I'm sitting as you were talking, I was reflecting on a few things, listening at the same time, and it's the little things that matter. The little things honestly go a long way. The little things go a long way to create the big things. A lot of people are giving this advice, or people know this when you are getting married, like being there for each other, sitting. This thing about your wife being in the kitchen, and you might not probably come and chop up anything, but just being there, chatting away, takes a lot of. I'll tell you. Was it last night? The same thing happened. When we were in the hall, and then I got up, I put on my apron, and then you asked me, where am I going that I've put on this apron again? I told you I had a few things to do in the kitchen. And you were like, okay, then I'll come and sit with you. In fact, my head inside was sweeting me like that. It was really sweeting me. And to be honest, I was tired already. I felt sleepy as well. I was very sleepy. I was dozing before I got up. As soon as he said that, being in the kitchen, the sleep tear from my eye top, seriously, it vanished. And I was working, and it didn't even feel like I was doing any chore. And you know that after that scene, after that event, anything else that comes later comes in as a breeze. But imagine, let's take it the other way around. I was tired, I was sleepy, I had to do all that, and maybe we had to round up a few things. You also had to iron stuff for the kids and all that. And then we go to bed. The only thing on my mind is I am going to sleep.
Sure.
Nothing else comes into my mind. But when we do these things, what it does is that we make a life a little more brighter for each other. It makes it a little less burdensome. And so by every other thing, you know what I'm talking about, comes in, and it's easy.
Sure.
It's more fulfilling that way, because we've already connected on a deeper level, on a higher level, and then this one is just add up, and it just comes along like that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Sam. So as we are, nearing to the end of this discussion, we would like to talk about external forces like stress, things you can't control, stress, financial constraint, especially in this day and age. There are a lot of pressures around. How does trust and intimacy, building very good trust and intimacy in marriage, how does it help? It wouldn't take the school fees away, obviously.
No, definitely
the
not.
fact that I trust you or you trust me will not pay our children's school fees.
The trust is your school fees.
Exactly. you have to work hard to be able to do that. But how does it make it a little easy in our case? From your perspective.
One word comes to mind: teamwork.
Yeah.
We're on the same team.
Yeah.
See, because of the trust that we've built and all of the things we've spoken about, I know that whatever decision we are taking this decision as a team.
Mm-hmm.
We are facing anything that is coming externally head on together. Yeah. The fact that I know that I have an extra shoulder, I have a shoulder to lean on, you have a shoulder to lean on, that we are there for each other, that alone scores a huge bonus. Yeah. Now, I know that knowing that my husband has got my back, that I am his first and topmost priority, makes some of these external stresses a bit easier to deal with. Yeah. For instance, I want to use an example. Let's say work stress, poultry farm. Yeah. There are times when there are unforeseen circumstances or contingencies that arise, and then it takes a lot of, it takes a toll on my husband. Yeah. Standing aside, I know what he's going through, and I know that he's not, the kind of mood he is in or whatever, it is not because of me. Yeah. I know what is happening. I know what is going on. Yeah. And so because of that, I have to position myself in such a way that I don't add up to his stress. Rather, I find ways and means to probably ease his burden. Okay. Doing that makes it, that what we have fostered over the period makes it easy to deal. It doesn't mean, like you said, it doesn't mean that they won't come. Yeah. They will come. But because I know I have you in my corner, you have me in my corner, at least there are people in this world, not just in marriage, in relationships, there are people who have no one to turn to. So when issues are coming, they are facing it single-handedly. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, we know there is God, and He's the first and foremost person we lean on. But there are people who feel totally alone. Yeah. So in my case, or in our case, we know that no matter what life throws at us, my husband is there for me, my wife is there for me. We've garnered experience over a period of time to know that he understands me, I understand. In times when probably on the spur of moment, I probably didn't get why you reacted in a certain way to certain instance. At a later date, we talk about it, and we talk about the fact that, it was because of this, that result, that is why I did this. Or at this point in time, I was thinking about this, that is why I did this. Okay. And then we just squash it, and then we move on. So yes, there are things that life will throw at us, curveballs that we have no control over. But knowing that I have a team, a solid team to face this with,
Well
makes
said.
it, you know that we can overcome.
Okay.
Okay, you know that we can overcome.
Okay. So as you're speaking, I think it is something I got through what you're speaking. Meaning, communication is very important in building trust. Open communication, where you have to be able to express yourself, to be able to let your spouse know exactly how you feel, not
Exactly.
bottling everything. I mean, in there, or finding a way if there's the other spouse. I mean, not being able to talk about something, having a way to, I mean, because you build trust over a period, having a way to get a person to be open. Okay, finally, I want us to talk about how appreciating, expressing gratitude in marriage, how it helps fosters, I mean, trust and intimacy in marriage.
I believe that this cuts across not just in relationship, it cuts
Yeah,
across everywhere. Every human being wants to feel
appreciated.
appreciated, wants to feel valued. And so if I'm your wife and on a daily basis, you make me feel that you value me, you
Yeah,
appreciate me. As a wife, I make you feel or know, not just feel, but know
yeah,
as well that I appreciate every effort you put into building our family.
yeah,
I appreciate everything you do for me as a husband. As a woman, now da.
yeah,
Aha. And so, like we've said previously, when you have that kind of feeling, we are connected.
yeah.
And so intimacy
Becomes a bit
becomes
easy.
easy.
Would you want to share personal examples in your marriage?
So I think you know that's why you're pointing me there. So at home, we have it has become a habit between my husband and I where we say thank you for the little things.
Yeah.
For you, every time I serve a dish, every time I cook in the house, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know what that has done? I've heard you talking to the kids about it, and it has also stuck there. Anytime I call them or I bring them their food, Mommy, thank you. Mommy, thank you for the food. Mommy, thank you for the. A few days ago, I didn't tell you, but I was thinking in my head that this man has infected the kids with it. Okay. And I think it's a beautiful thing to have at home. My
So
kids have also,
not to cut you. So I mean, since we are talking about appreciation, I mean, I think it would be proper. I say what you do, okay, so that I mean it doesn't have to come from you. I mean, when you have to say thank you, I think I've shared this on social media so many times. Sometimes I don't get it. Sometimes I maybe you sleep in early. I try to, and I told I mean, the young single adults at Latter Days in church in Kaswa, I share this with them that it is something I look up to, especially when I get to know you are tired, you are dozing and off and all of that. I want to sneak to go to the kitchen. If there is anything I have to do there, I immediately, it's something I enjoy doing. And when I hear you say thank you for some of these things, sometimes I'm like, I mean, it's nothing. Like it has to be done. I feel it is something. So, or if it is anything, the slightest thing, or if it is you, I mean, I'm not sure they are not even coming. The slightest of things you don't, I mean, say thank you for and all of that. And I mean, like you said, it makes the person feel I mean appreciated, and it gets you both connected. You feel you have built that trust where the slightest thing, I mean something people feel it is, I mean it is your responsibility to do that. I mean as a man it is your responsibility to take care of the home, do this and all of that, but you get to hear your spouse say thank you when you do the things you feel you are supposed to do, and I think it's something wonderful.
yeah.
So I think you were saying something. Sorry about cutting
Yeah,
you.
and at this point, I think it is good we share the fact that I think as we learn to do this as a couple, it is also a good thing to teach our children to
Yeah,
learn to give compliments.
very
Our kids
important.
are learning; they are not totally there yet,
Yeah,
but they are learning that You see mommy dress up. Mommy, you're looking beautiful.
Yeah.
Daddy dresses. Daddy, you're looking good.
Yeah.
Mommy, this. Daddy, this. Grace, you are looking nice. Jason, you are looking nice. It is a foundation we are building. And I think it's something that we can share.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two people out there can also pick this up. Know that learning to give compliment, let us not be stingy with our compliments, because it goes a long way to validate the other person, to build or bolster the self-confidence of the other person as well.
You know, in this world where we hear people talk a lot about I mean, you don't have to be, or you don't have to be hungry in terms of validation, seeking validation from your spouse and all of that. I mean, we call something self-love, and I mean, you have to be able. That is true. Independence is very important in marriage, but I'm talking about this because of what you just mentioned about, I mean, validation. Every human, I feel, needs that, irrespective of how independent you are.
Yeah.
I mean, in your own marriage, I mean, trying to build yourself, your personal self, and all of that. I think validation is a very important thing to get to have from your, I mean, spouse.
From your spouse. That's right.
All
That's
right.
right.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sam. So, what are your last words on, especially would-be couple? Or, I mean, we are still young, so sometimes I wouldn't want us to even advise people who are already in marriage.
I know.
Yeah, whether they are 2 years or 3 years, I mean,
They have that experience.
They have that experience. But of course, I mean, there are people are going through a lot. I say we still have, I mean, a lot of years to go through whatever we have to go through. But I think when we share some of these things, and as we read from the comments from the previous episode, we also get to learn what people are sharing. So, what would be your last words in terms of would-be couples who may be struggling in a certain department? We have our weaknesses and we have our strengths. So, as we're working on this, what would be? I mean, with all the experience you've shared, what would be your advice for would-be couple who are maybe finding their feet in terms of trust and intimacy? Because intimacy is a very big thing in a lot of marriage. I mean, in every marriage, let me put it that way. And I mean, when Kojo Sheldon would tell you the boys in the WhatsApp group. I mean, there's no WhatsApp group, but I mean, that's how he normally refers to. So, I mean, people share these things a lot. I mean, so what would your last words to would-be couple?
Okay, so the first thing is, let us understand that a successful marriage takes hard work.
Yeah.
It is hard work. You have to put in the work to get the results. So having that at the back of your head, when we are getting involved with anybody, know that there are some key exercises that need to be done.
Yeah.
There are things that need to be learned or put in place before we get to the point where we say we are a couple, we are married now. Trust. And I've said it here that trust is not built over a day.
Yeah.
So I trust you, you trust me. Where is it coming from? We've mentioned it here. You need to be open with each other.
Yeah.
Talk about the difficult things. It might not, it is not easy. It won't come easy, but learn to talk about the difficult things. Be true to your promises. If you say, I will do it. Stay consistent with your character. Because if I'm getting to know you, today you are A, tomorrow you are B, the next day you are C, the next day you are D and Z and F and G. You are a mixture of everything. I don't know who I'm dealing with. But then be consistent in your behavior. So I know that this is the kind. If you are a hot-tempered person, let us know that you are hot-tempered, and then we learn to work at it together. If you are the type of person who talks anyhow, downplays on people's feelings, let me know that this is who you are. Then I decide I want to go at it with you or not. I'll pack off and go. Then we decide there and there. So these are the things that we need to work on. See, how do I say this? It is something, there's a saying that it is difficult to advise somebody in love.
Yeah.
When you are in love, you feel like "Nyansa ni nyinaa wɔ wo ho a wotirim." Whatever anybody says, you don't want to listen.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the love of my life. And he's wearing trousers not to tear you feel so it is the new trendy kind of a yaba. You don't want to, somebody is pointing you to it, but you don't want to listen. And so yes, I understand that it is difficult to advise somebody in love. That is why you have to start learning before you even fall in love.
Yeah.
So these things that we are discussing, I'm praying and hoping that some young single adults out there are listening. So you start putting these things when the time for decision making comes. I want to remember. It's not coming. It's a quote. Yes,
Okay.
that I want. Let me paraphrase it. That when the time comes for you to take a decision, the time for taking, like preparing to make that decision is already done.
Yes. Yes.
So it is not then that you are now coming
to
to prepare and take a decision.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying in essence is that let's have these things in mind, that you need to be open, be transparent, communicate well, and all of these, to be consistent with your behavior, keep your promises and all that. When you have these as your guidelines, you know that anytime, so if I should meet someone that I'm interested in, these are things that we should both require of each other. So it is when you meet that person, it becomes a bit easier to put these things in motion. It is not when you are head over heels in love. When ubiaka won't is when you are yakakra won't. So let's learn these things. Let's learn these things. So sometimes, we don't have to wait till we are going to get married before we get counseling, marriage counseling.
Yes.
Luckily for the youth and then the young single adults in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, this starts at an early age.
Very early.
Very early age. About the decision to date and who to date, dating in the Lord's way, starts early. So what I'm saying is, in essence, what is done. That you start taking steps. So when it is time, you know what to do. So please, let's put in the work. Let's put down our guidelines and stick to it. And make sure that we put in this work so that when you get to a point when you are getting married, we are already at ease with each other. I trust you. But like I said, trust, there's still work to be done. We are still building trust between the two of us. So let's put in the work. That is my final word. Put in the work. Put down those guidelines, what you expect from each other. And then when it gets there, put in that in motion. Put all that in motion.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sam. It's always lovely to have you here. To have you here on this show, Knitted Hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful discussion. I know, we wanted to, talk and talk and talk and talk. When I have my wife here, I just would want to talk and talk and talk. But it's been a wonderful discussion so far. We want your feedback. We want to know what you think. If there are any questions, please put them in the comment section. Share your experience. We want to hear. We want to learn from all of you. There are so many wonderful couples out there we want to also learn from. And please share, like, and just make sure this is trending. We are grateful for your time and see you next week.